Iya, mau ya? Belum ya? Not yet. Kenapa nggak bisa
Kita
ya?
coba dilanjut aja, Bu. Di slide
Oke.
selanjutnya kita.
Oke. This is about the rice bran. Rice bran is outer layer of rice and it is derived on milling process. This is bran is rich in term or some nutrient such as protein, mineral, fatty acid, dietary fiber content, and antioxidant such as oryzanol, tocopherol, tocotrienol, and ferulic acid. Some studies showed that intake of dietary rice bran has positive effect on rats and human health in terms of protection against gastrointestinal cancer, improving lipid metabolism, and reducing cholesterol levels. In addition, rice bran-based prebiotic can prevent inflammatory bowel disease and promote beneficial impact on the intestinal mucus.
Mohon maaf, Bu Ana belum berubah slide-nya.
Itulah. Belum berubah. Ini saya coba juga. Your skin saya di pause. Bentar ya. Ini tak boleh kan? Bentar. Dia tak boleh skin apa skin saya belum bukan. Skin sharing. Katanya deh. Your skin sharing is pause. Skin sharing. Ya. Oke. Boleh ke Bu? Boleh kelihatan? Bu?
Belum, karena masih
Belum
seperti
juga.
tadi.
Resume share. Nggak boleh juga. Kenapa ya? Uh, ya. Saya ulangi dari awal ini. Slideshow ini PowerPoint. Oke. Belum juga. Not yet.
Nah,
Saya stop dulu. Sudahkah? Oh,
nah
loading.
ini
Nah,
sudah, Bu
sudah,
Ana.
Oke.
sudah, Bu.
Oke, sebentar nih, nggak nampak nih. Oke, the problem, degenerative disease are generally defined as disease caused by a process of decreased organ function which generally occurs in old age. Degenerative disease is a chronic non-communicable disease due to decline in the function of the body's organ due to the aging process. So these purposes increase knowledge and socialization about rice brain that can be used as food enrichment and functional food. Prevent degenerative disease by utilizing the nutritional content in rice bran. Okay, this is structure of rice bran. Hull in the outer the skin of paddy, and then this is rice bran in apa paling dalam nih ya, rice germ, and di sini white rice is rice yang biasa kita makan. This is content of rice bran. Component, pericarp, tegment, aileron layer, endosperm, embryo, hulls, all the uh, bagian dari rice bran is component. Ya, komponennya dietary fiber, vitamin, antioxidant, sterol, and etc. Like the bioactive compound, carrier, flavor enhancer, emulsifying agent, protein stabilizer, and the oil extraction. This is content of rice bran. The highest analysis proximate, the highest in the rice bran content is serat pangan, 25.3 gram. And then vitamin, In the highest is niacin, 43 milligram. Vitamin and mineral is the fiber the highest. Ability of rice, ini kemampuan rice, terutamanya rice bran, dia untuk cell cycle atau bagaimana the cell of improvement, how to cell to improvement, and to how to cell to preventive aging. Intestinal inflammation, the rice bran can to reduce inflammation, and apoptosis. Apoptosis is death of cell and aging. Jadi dia menghambat, reduce untuk terjadinya aging cell, and menghambat cancer prevention, menghambat cancer. This is rice processing. First picklet. Pertama kalau padi kita panen or harvesting. This is paddy rice. The first one, paddy rice, and the first milling, we can get the brown rice, and this is husk in byproduct, byproduct of rice milling, but the first byproduct of rice milling is husk, and the second, after brown rice in polish, we can get the white rice atau biasa yang kita makan beras, rice, white rice, and the bran and embryo. This is bran and embryo. Usually we call the rice bran, and the pedicel is jerami, some jerami. Sementara kalau husk itu kita biasa sebut sebagai sekam, sekam padi. Okay, this is three types processing of rice bran. First, the sieve bran is hot, panaskan in a frying pan without using oil for 10 minutes until fragrance. To avoid scorching, the rice bran must be stirred continuously. Jadi berterusan diaduk. After cooling, the bran can be stored in a tightly closed container. The second step, second types, I think, the modern method is done using spray drying. Fresh bran is hydrated with water. The pH is regulated and protease enzymes are added. The mixture is stirred for 30 minutes and at a temperature of 130 until 150 degrees Celsius. After that, the soluble and insoluble parts are separated. The dissolved part is pasteurized and set to pH 7, then dried using a spray dryer. The three types, steaming for 30 minutes and then dried, dikeringkan. After cooling, the rice bran can be stored in tightly closed place. This is a rice bran as an enriching food and functional food. Rice bran can add to cake, bread, cookies, pudding, chapati, drinks. All the drinks can we add the rice bran for to enriching food. Conclusion, rice bran is a byproduct of rice processing that can still be used for human because it has a fairly high nutritional content. 2, rice bran has the potential to be a
aktif dan berkarakter. Secara khusus, tujuan pelatihan ini bertujuan yang
Mohon maaf tadi tiba-tiba kembali ke room utama. Baiklah, presentasi dari Bu Ana sudah selesai. Silakan bagi Bapak Ibu yang mau bertanya. Ada yang mau mengajukan pertanyaan? Tidak ada. Baik, mungkin kalau nanti ada pertanyaan boleh dituliskan di kolom chat dan akan insya Allah akan dijawab oleh Bu Ana. Selanjutnya eh, sel- yang pertama, apakah sudah datang? Oh, sudah. Baik, Ibu Dr. Sita Saraya SHMH dari University of Selamat Sri yang merupakan editor ADPI Jawa Tengah. Kali ini akan mempresentasikan materinya yang berjudul Membentuk Gerakan Masyarakat Desa Sadar Hukum di Indonesia. Baik, kepada Ibu Sita dipersilakan.
Baik, terima kasih Bu Dr. Desmawati atas kesempatannya. Mohon izin share screen. Sudah nampak ya, mohon izin sudah terlihat. Bentar, Bapak.
Sudah terlihat Bu Sita.
Ya, bentar. Ini saya. Baik, thank you ladies and gentlemen. The Association of Community Service Lecturer of Indonesia, ADPI, represent the team in the community service program. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sita Saraya, lecturer at the Faculty of Law, Selamat Sri University, and editor of ADPI Central Java. On this occasion,
Maaf Bu
the
Sita,
Baik,
mohon maaf Bu.
oleh siswa tersebut. Yang ketiga, mengembangkan karakter atau perilaku. Guru harus mengembangkan karakter atau perilaku yang diharapkan kepada peserta didik dengan cara menjelaskan, memberikan contoh, menyimulasikan, dan sebagainya. Yang keempat, mempertahankan
PKM kali ini yaitu Forming a Law Aware Village Community Movement in Indonesia, yaitu berkaitan dengan pembentukan gerakan masyarakat desa sadar hukum di Indonesia. Berbicara tentang kesadaran hukum atau legal awareness can be interpreted as awareness a person or a group of people to the applicable rules or laws. Legal awareness is very necessary for a society. This aim to ensure that order, peace, tranquility, and justice can be realized in interaction between people. Without having high legal awareness, this goal will be very difficult to achieve. Understanding a legally aware village, the formation of legal awareness village or sub-district is an ongoing program in an effort to build community legal awareness, collaboration between government agency and with the community is the key to achieving success. The way to increase legal awareness is that it can take the form of action and education. Action means increasing the threat of punishment or tightening monitoring of citizens' compliance with the law so that all citizens are encouraged to comply. The importance of forming a legal conscious village. The formation of a legal awareness village needs to be carried out as an effort to develop legal culture at all levels of society so that legal awareness and compliance can be created for the sake of upholding the supremacy of law in the unitary state of the Republic of Indonesia. Basic of legislation atau dasar hukum dari pembentukan desa sadar hukum, yaitu diantaranya Undang-Undang Nomor 17 tahun 2007 atau Law Number 17 of 207 yang berkaitan dengan rencana pembangunan jangka panjang nasional, yaitu dari 2005 sampai dengan 2025. Kemudian dasar hukum berikutnya yaitu Undang-Undang Nomor 6 tahun 2014, yaitu berkaitan dengan Undang-Undang Desa. Dan Peraturan Menteri Kementerian Hukum dan HAM tahun 2008, juga Peraturan Kementerian Hukum dan HAM tahun 2006, dan Peraturan Kementerian Hukum dan HAM tahun 2007. Ini yang menjadi dasar dari pembentukan desa sadar hukum di Indonesia. Nah, effort to build legal awareness, hal yang sangat menarik tentunya yang berkaitan dengan desa sadar hukum, yaitu hal pentingnya effort to build public legal awareness are not a simple matter. As a legal state, formal law is the main guideline in the process of society, nation, and state. The low level of education of the majority of society is a prominent obstacle today. At the stake of national development, the issues of legal awareness become increasingly important in the life of the nation, state, and society. The rule of law is expected to be more dominant, but to maintain the development threshold that have been achieved. Direct effort to increase development and stabilize social and cultural life. Change in society occur more quickly and touch all areas and sector of life. Legal awareness as a life value. Without legal awareness, the aim of the law to protect society and guarantee the right and obligation of its citizens toward a just, prosperous society based on Pancasila and the Undang-Undang Dasar tahun 1945 will not be realized. Community legal awareness is a value that lives in society in the form of understanding and obedience or compliance of the community to legal norm and applicable law and regulation. Base of Permenkumham, hal-hal yang meningkatkan untuk kesadaran hukum diantaranya yaitu the formation of a legal awareness village or subdistrict began with the destination of a village has a kedarkum atau kesadaran keluarga sadar hukum group as a assisted village. The proposal to determine the assisted village. C. The region or mayor determined by decree that a village. D. Assisted village are continuously developed to become law-aware village. A. BPHN assisted by the regional office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights. F. The governor determines DB to become after considering the recommendation of the region or mayor and the head of the region office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights. And then the formation of legally aware village. One, increase the frequency untuk meningkatkan pendidikan legal. Poin kedua untuk tentunya education atau pendidikan pemerintah, develop legal education methods atau activities that appropriate to the target community segment. Dan yang ketiga, peningkatan kualitas masyarakat untuk mengetahui tentang kesadaran hukum atau keluarga sadar hukum. Kemudian yang keempat, encourage the provision of incentive in the form of award or legal award to individual or expert or public figure. Dan yang kelima, five, conduct a comprehensive review of the legal counseling pattern and include guidelines for implementing legal counseling both at the national and regional level. The number of legal awareness villages that were inaugurated as of January 2012 terdapat 5.744 desa dari 81.239 desa. Jadi dalam kurun waktu Januari 2020, di awal itu tahun 2005, dan sekarang total ada 5.744 desa sadar hukum yang sudah ditetapkan oleh Kementerian Hukum dan HAM. Tentunya hal ini masih sedikit karena jumlah keseluruhan desa di Indonesia yaitu 81.239 desa. Menjadi PR untuk kita tentunya untuk menciptakan atau membentuk desa sadar hukum. Dan untuk penutup and conclusion, the formation of legal awareness village or subdistrict is an ongoing program in an effort to build community legal awareness, collaboration between government agency and with the community is the key to achieving success. The ways to increase legal awareness can be in the form of action and education. Action means increasing the threat of punishment or tightening monitoring of citizens' compliance with the law so that all citizens are encouraged to comply. That is the material and I conveyed. I apologize if there are mistakes in my word and attitudes. Thank you. Terima kasih, saya kembalikan ke Ibu Dr. Desmawati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, presentasi yang menarik dari Ibu Dr. Sita Saraya. Silakan Bapak Ibu yang mau mengajukan pertanyaan. Apakah ada yang mau bertanya, Bapak Ibu? Baik, sepertinya tidak ada yang mau bertanya, Bu Sita. Mungkin kalau ada Bapak Ibu yang mau bertanya, silakan nanti ditulis di kolom chat. Baik, selanjutnya adalah pemateri dari Stein Mandailing Natal, Ibu Resdila Pratiwi Empung, yang merupakan koordinator program ADPI Sumatera Utara, dengan judul materi The Training of Using AI for Reading Comprehension. Silakan Bu Resdila Pratiwi.
Oke, thank you so much Bu Desma.
Mungkin mohon maaf Bu Sita di stop ini ya, sudah ya. Silakan Bu Resdila.
Iya, izin share screen dulu ya Bu. Kelihatan Bu? Waduh.
Tadi kelihatan, dan sekarang hilang.
Ya udah.
Nah, ini
Sudah
sudah.
kelihatan?
Ya, sekarang sudah.
Ya.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good morning,
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
ladies and gentlemen, the honorable, all of the committee, all of the moderator and session chairs today, and the honorable, our session chairs, Ms. Desma. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to deliver my presentation today. Wait. Oke. Sudah kelihatan lagi, Mbak?
Sudah.
Okay. Yes. Allow me to deliver my presentation, my topic today, that talk about the training on using AI for reading comprehensions. There are some content that I would like to deliver to all of you. For the first one is my introduction. That's about me, and the next is talking about the introduction of our topic, and also what is AI, the importance of reading comprehension, how AI can help and benefit of using AI and hands-on training. Well, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Restila Pratiwi SPDM Home. I am English lecturer and now as the head of English Education Study Program in Stein Mandailing Natal. Well, talking about the importance of reading comprehension, we know that reading comprehension is crucial for academic success and lifelong learning. It involves not only understanding the text, but also critically analyzing and synthesizing informations. We know that nowadays reading comprehension is more crucial because we know in our daily activity, so many students didn't know how to comprehend their reading. They didn't know to read some text. They just focused to accepted the information from the other's friends. They didn't know to read aloud. They didn't know to make their comprehend about their reading because they know that reading is more boring. So what is AI? The role of AI here in modern education, we know that AI is revolutionizing various sectors, including education, by providing personalized learning experiences and improving efficiency. We know that AI can answer so many problem in our activities today. They can solve the problems, which is in reading comprehensions, in writing, and speaking, and also in listening. So many the role of AI can answer all of the problems in our uh, daily activities today. And the objectives of the training session today is to introduce educators to AI tools and demonstrate their application in reading comprehensions and provide practical training on integrating these tools into the curriculum. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what is AI? We know that AI refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn. This system can perform tasks such as recognizing speech, making decisions, and translating languages. And talking about the history and evolution of AI has evolved from simple rule-based systems to complex machine learning algorithms capable of processing vast amounts of data and learning from it. And also AI is transforming education by offering personalized learning experiences, automating administrative tasks, and providing insight into students' performance. We know that AI so many benefit that we can accept from AI. We can learn personalized with AI. We can know how many uh application, how many information from AI we can learn in class using AI in our daily activity or our self in our room. We can use AI in a flexible time. So AI is really an important thing in reading comprehensions. So what is the importance of reading comprehension? We have to make so we can know that the reading comprehensions can be the ability of the students. One of them is critical thinking. The student have to know how to analyze and how to evaluating information. And the next is analytical skills. After they know that analyzing and evaluating information, they have to know how to understand and interpreting their information in complex text. And after that, they can apply information that we call enhanced understanding. Three point means that we have to give to the student. We have to make the students know the importance of reading comprehension, so we can say that the students can be as a reader, a good reader. Because when they didn't know how to evaluate the information, when they didn't know how to interpret complex text and didn't know to apply the information, they cannot say as the reader as the good reader. So what is the challenges? The challenges here, many students struggle with understanding complex text, identifying main ideas, and also making the inferences. They didn't know how to identify main idea. Is it the supporting detail or not? Is it the a good complex text, or is it the inferences? Is it the good topic or not? They didn't know how to manage, how to identify that. This is one of the challenges that we face in daily activities today. So how AI can help? There are 3 points I have concluded that. The first one is personalized learning paths. Yes, AI can create tailored learning experiences based on individual students' needs and progress, instant and feedback. And of course, they give AI tools can provide immediate feedback, helping students understand their mistake and improve. And also interactive and engaging content. AI can generate interactive activities that make learning more engaging and effective. When we use AI, they can give student needs. It can give instant feedback. We know that the assessment, one of the problem from the teacher, because so many teachers didn't know feeling bored to assess all of the students reading comprehensions. But in AI, they can help our problem with use some application that AI give us the information. Here it is the example of AI that we can use in reading comprehension. Actually, there are so many applications that we can use in AI, in reading comprehension from AI. One of them, there was WordWall, and then Quillbot, and then Quill and Grammarly, and Read Theory. In this case, I took one that is Read Theory. Read Theory Explication is an adaptive learning platform that offers personalized reading comprehensions exercises for students of all levels. Is it grade 1 until grade 12 until ESL? So many grade that Read Theory adaptive in their platform. And then the platform adjusts the difficulty of the text and question based on students' performance. And then what is the feature in Read Theory? Adaptive learning algorithms personalize the reading experience, and then instant feedback on comprehension question, and then detailed progress report for teachers and students. And then the benefit helps improve reading skill by providing texts that are the right level of challenge for each student. So here it is how to use the Read Theory. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first one, we have to read on your Google, we have to write on your Google Read Theory, and then you can see this one. I'm sorry. And you can see this one is the picture. The first, when we write the Read Theory, we can see this one, improve your students' reading. So we have to sign up for free. Actually, this platform is free for all of us, so we can use in your Google, or you can use in the application. And after that, we will see like this one. Welcome to Read Theory. Let's get started. We can choose which is a students, teacher, or parent. We can choose which is one that we have to do as a teacher, or as a reader, or as a teacher or student, or as a parent. And then we have to know that why we use Read Theory. There is some point that we have to know. For the first one, Read Theory is adaptive. And then effective, easy, and fun. Easy means that get up and running in minutes with an easy to use interface and human support when you need it. And this is fun learning because so many picture that we can use and so many question that support our reading to make our in activities not boring. Here it is a one of question. For example, as a students, we have use our worksheet online. We can see this one. This one is one of topic that we have to know about the topic. For example, column on job. This is a topic, and this is lecture level. This is 580 level, and then the question there is 7.
Bahagia Sejahtera atau NKKBS. Hal ini merupakan suatu perwujudan kontribusi terhadap program pemerintah dan juga profesionalisme tersebut. Kemudian selanjutnya latar belakang. Ibu masih, ya baik. Latar belakang ketiga yaitu meningkatkan eksistensi mitra dengan melibatkan stakeholder dalam pengabdian masyarakat.
Yeah, for the tourism guide. Okay, maybe no questions from the audience. May I ask question, Dr. Jumadi?
Sure.
Yes, thank you. Because you make pre-test and also you make post-test, and that you see that there are significant difference respond from.
Ini tentang penggunaan AI untuk pelatihan reading comprehension. Baik, kalau tidak ada bertanya, mungkin saya bertanya satu sama Ibu Resdila.
Iya, Mbak.
How about AI for speaking? Can AI help us to practice English and improve this our pronunciation or other?
Oh
How
yes.
about it?
Yeah. In speaking, there are so many platforms that we can use. Also, one of them is for today. So many students use not quizzes. One of them, apalagi nama Duolingo. Sorry, Duolingo. So many students use Duolingo as the platform to enhance their speaking ability. Miss.
Oke, terima kasih atas jawabannya Ibu Resdila.
Iya, Mbak.
Baik, mungkin tidak ada pertanyaan lagi. Mungkin kalau Bapak Ibu ada yang mau bertanya lagi, silakan tulis di kolom chat.
Iya.
Selanjutnya kita masuk ke pembicara yang keempat. Ibu Husna ini apakah sudah ada? Belum ya?
Sorry.
Mungkin Ibu Resdila bisa stop sharing.
Oke.
Baik, sepertinya Ibu Husna ini belum bergabung. Kita lanjut ke Bapak Dr. Maimun SHI MPDI dari IAIN Madura yang merupakan editor ADPI Jawa Timur yang akan menyampaikan materi tentang penguatan master teacher melalui program Madrasah Memanggil di Madura. Silakan Pak Maimun.
Terima kasih, thank you very much, Mbak Desmawati. Let's me to share my PowerPoint. Bisa kelihatan Mbak ya?
Sudah Pak, cuma belum slide share. Mungkin bisa ditekan F5 saja Pak. Pak Maimun mungkin diklik di kanan bawah, tanda slide share yang di kanan bawah.
Iya, sudah saya ini sudah kalau versi saya sudah aktif ini.
Nah, di tampilan Zoom masih belum, Pak.
Share screen ya.
Ya, share screen. Share screen.
Kemudian ini, kemudian share.
Nah, Bapak klik di kanan bawah itu ada tanda slide share.
Tetap nggak bisa Mbak ya?
Diklik di kanan bawah, Pak. Di dekat tanda paling ujung. Di bawah, Pak, di bawah. Kursornya ke bawah. Ya, bukan ke kiri dikit, kiri
Oh,
lagi.
sorry.
Nah, silakan
Ini
Pak.
maksudnya.
Ya, sudah, silakan Pak.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. I am Maimun from EIN Madura. My topics today is about strengthening master teacher through the Madrasah Memanggil program in Madura. I think the first step in order to we have some understanding, we need to identify the two terms that we talk here. First is about master teacher. It is one of graduate profiles of the Islamic Religious Education Master in IAIN Madura. Great teacher who has competencies. It's about the definition is great teacher who has competencies, sincerely dedicated, creative, innovative, moderate, and expansive, based on research and development of technology. And the second is about Madrasah Memanggil. I still use Indonesian term, Madrasah Memanggil. It is a collaboration program between PGM and I is Java, and YN engage in the form of the device to develop Islamic education in Madura, especially in madrasah institutions through various necessary activities such as training, seminars, and even networking. The background of this problem, madrasah memanggil, I think it's really neat because minimally two causes. First, madrasah in Madura are lagging. They have limited relationships, major salaries, and a mediocre education system. And the second, Madras people are really fanatics and prone to conflicts of organization and its ideology, such as NU and Muhammadiyah, and so that they need the moderation efforts. Responding to the backwardness and understanding between the social community, the postgraduate help communities advise in order to strengthen graduate profiles in one hand, and in other hand, it also develop Islamic education in Madura. Here are some activities that we have done, that we did in the field. The purpose of the program, first, volunteers advice from postgraduate students to help madrasah better and better, and then become great centrally educated students. Second, creating an open thinking of modern society. The implementation doing this program is really simple, as simple as these below steps. First, just observation. The community observe the target place and identify some problems or everything that they need there. The second, we get communication. The community communicate with everyone related to the problem, such as tutor, expert, even the government, to realize an activity to solve the problem or fulfill what they need. And the third action, make schedule and get the section. I'm sorry, make schedule and get the action. Here, some documentation that we get, that you can see here. Okay, that's all I think. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih atas presentasinya Bapak Maimun. Silakan Bapak Ibu yang mau bertanya. Ada yang mau bertanya, Bapak Ibu? Sepertinya tidak ada yang bertanya, Pak Maimun. Mungkin kalau ada pertanyaan boleh kalau ada pertanyaan dari Bapak Ibu boleh dituliskan di kolom chat. Selanjutnya kita masuk ke presentasi dari Bapak Rian Pubi Sumarta MPD dari Politeknik Pelayaran Sorong yang merupakan reviewer ADPI Papua Barat. Kali ini akan mempresentasikan materinya dengan judul Kolaborasi untuk Kebersihan, Program Kali Bersih atau Prokasih oleh Politeknik Pelayaran Sorong. Silakan Pak Rian.
Okay, thank you, the moderator, Ibu Dr. Desmawati M. Gizi. So let me share the screen. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for having me today. My name is Rian Pubi Sumarta from the Sorong Merchant Marine Polytechnic Indonesia. Today, I will presenting on the collaboration for cleanliness Kali Bersih or Prokasi program by Sorong Merchant Marine Polytechnic that we conducted. Rivers play a crucial role in maintaining the ecological balance and providing habitats for various species in Sorong City. However, our city faces challenges such as a high rainfall, which causes river overflows and water lodging and pollution. These issues negatively impact public health, infrastructure, and the environment. And water pollution can lead to the disease, while floods can damage infrastructure and threaten lives. Sorong City generates approximately 250 tons of waste every day. Unfortunately, effective waste management is still lacking. The government has implemented waste collection sites known as TPS and has been conducting education and socialization efforts to address this issue. Additionally, the government has allocated a budget for waste management and is collaborating with Walhi Papua to improve these efforts. This collaborative activity was carried out at the Remu River in South Remu Village on September 5th, 2023. This location was chosen due to its significant pollution problems. This activity consisted of three main stages: preparation, implementation, and monitoring and evaluation. During the preparation stage, we conducted site surveys, distributed tests, and provided necessary tools. In the implementation stage, we carry out socialization efforts and the actual river cleaning. Finally, the monitoring and evaluation stage involved interviews and direct observation to assess the effectiveness of the activity and gather data for future improvement. The results of the activity showed that 80% of participants are now more aware of the importance of maintaining environmental cleanliness. This indicates that our education program was successful. We also observed a decrease in the amount of waste collected in the Remu River, demonstrating the effectiveness of our cleaning efforts. This program can serve as a model for similar initiative in other regions and has the potential to be adapted and implemented in various areas to address waste problem and improve environmental cleanliness. Furthermore, this program was implemented at 78 locations in Indonesia, showcasing its wide reach and the possibility of a significant positive impact nationwide. Activity preparation. The first is a field survey in the identification of the main problem waste carried by the current and household waste spills. And then the next preparation meeting, cleaning strategy, tax distribution, implementation schedule. The implementation of the activity was divided into three stages: socialization, action, and tool distribution. During the socialization stage, we educated participants on the impact of pollution and the importance of environmental cleanliness. In the action, participants actively engage in river cleaning using the provided tools. Finally, in the tool distribution stage, we ensure that all participants had necessary tools such as sand brooms, scoops, dustpans, trash cans, and plastic trash bag. And in conclusion, this program has successfully increased environmental awareness and community participation in Sorong City, Effective waste management is crucial for the sustainability of our environment, and this program has made a positive contribution to these efforts. Collaboration between the government, non-governmental organization, the private sector, and the local community is essential in realizing sustainable environmental programs. The recommendation to further improve our waste management programs and environmental awareness campaign, we need to enhance public education and increase community participation. And then the next, collaboration between various parties is vital for the sustainable of the program. And then thank you for your time and attention. I hope this presentation was helpful. Okay, thank you very much. And then I will go back to the moderator.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Rian. Silakan Bapak Ibu yang mau bertanya. Ada pertanyaan yang mau diajukan? Sepertinya tidak ada yang bertanya, Pak Rian. Sebenarnya kita ada 2 peserta lagi, yaitu Ibu Dr. Dian Citasari, MPD, dan Ibu Husnaini, MPD. Tetapi sepertinya yang bersangkutan belum hadir di room ini. Sehingga mungkin Bapak Ibu untuk sesi 6 ini sudah bisa kita cukupkan sampai di sini. Mungkin sebelum ditutup, saya mau bertanya lagi kepada yang hadir. Apakah ada pertanyaan untuk semua narasumber yang sudah menyampaikan materinya tadi? Ada 5 narasumber. Ada yang mau bertanya, Bapak Ibu? Baiklah, tidak ada.
Tidak ada
yang...
mungkin, Bu.
Ya, baiklah, karena kegiatan kita sudah selesai untuk semua peserta yang hadir, semua narasumber yang hadir itu sudah menyampaikan materinya. Mungkin untuk kali ini kita cukupkan sampai di sini. Mudah-mudahan yang telah kita lakukan hari ini bermanfaat dan dibalas dengan balasan yang berlipat ganda oleh Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Saya sebagai moderator, mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan. Mungkin sebelum kita tutup, saya mau ngambil screenshot semuanya dulu. Ibu Resdila, apakah bisa dibuka videonya sebentar, Bu? Ibu Eka Melati. Ya, baik. Sebentar. Oke, saya akan screenshot 1, 2, 3. Sudah Bapak Ibu, sekali lagi saya mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sampai jumpa lagi di acara berikutnya Bapak Ibu.
Bu Dr. Desmawati, terima kasih. Izin live.
Semua ya, orang yang berhak untuk menerima zakat yang menjadi orang yang seharusnya menyalurkan atau mengeluarkan zakatnya. Kemudian selain zakat ada juga sedekah sukarela atau pembagian lainnya. Ya, ini juga adalah salah satu